Yeah, Winnie, you can start whenever you want to.
You can drop that before.
Three, two, one. Welcome to Fear of Stairs, Desi Films Decoded, the podcast where four different friends from different backgrounds unlock the world of Desi cinema. I'm Winnie, the Desi who's never been to India.
Oh, I'm Killy. I'm the cinephile from India.
Sawasdee krap, my name is Nikki. I'm the third culture kid from Thailand.
I'm Adam, the American cinemaphile, and this week we learned that if you do commit a crime, you got to time your pregnancy really well, and you could extend it by about 5 years. So, Killy, you want to talk about this movie?
Yeah. This film is like this film Jawan.
It's like it came out last year, right?
Yeah. This is so this film Jawan. This is the as Bollywood as we can get. It's like super
Epic.
yeah, it's in the epic proportion. It's with the mega star, like the biggest star the Bollywood has right now, and it touches upon social issue. It has romance. It's full with musical numbers, huge budget, and a huge success on the box office, and a huge fan service. So this is like a quote unquote Bollywood film.
Yeah, just for context, the movie we watched before this had like no musical numbers or something. And then Killy, who's been curating this movie list for us, we're like, dude, we want to see some musicals. Like, where's some, big Bollywood pictures? And so he chose this. We didn't know anything going in. And you'd seen this before?
Yeah, but I skipped through it. Like I didn't watch it.
And is that how you watch most movies, by the way?
No. It's just some movies that I just want to know what happens in the plot and get the vibe of the film. That's it. I mean, yeah, but it's a good film, though. Yeah, it's a good Bollywood film.
I think the funny part is when we were going into this film, we actually requested to watch like a really bad movie. And then by Keely's standards, he said, "This is a bad movie."
Number one film in India.
I think it's important to note that this film stars Shah Rukh Khan. And for non-Bollywood lovers, he's like the equivalent of Tom Cruise for Bollywood. So any film he's in is bound to be a hit.
Yeah, Killy was like, "Here's some like slop. Like we can check this out." I skipped through this, and like I don't know anything about anyone. So like, sure, Winnie, you know about. I'm gonna see. This is my issue. Is I'm always gonna say Shah Rukh Khan from the Jungle Book.
Shere Khan.
Okay, thank you. I'm really having a hard time like not saying Shere Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, he's like the biggest star right now, the richest Bollywood star
Yeah.
right now. So this film released in 2023, and it was, I think it was the highest grossing film from India that year, and also highest grossing film of Shah Rukh Khan ever. And he actually, like, for the context, he came up with two back-to-back mega hits that's like earned so much money. It's so in Indian number system we have crores, like it's like the 100 crore club. The crore is like 10 million. So this was like this is I
It was
don't
like $75 billion or something.
no 3 billion would be, oh my god, I should have calculated it before.
What are your thoughts on him, Winnie?
Well, Shah Rukh Khan's been like the biggest actor in Bollywood for the past 20 years, so he's not new at all. I grew up watching him. My mom's generation, he's like the heartthrob. My mom, I'm pretty sure, would leave all of us and just go marry him if she could. Yeah. What are your thoughts of him? This is your first film.
Yeah.
This is your introduction.
Completely blank slate. So I don't watch a lot of Indian cinema. Part of the reason I'm doing this is to be exposed to it more. I've seen him before in photos, and like I've heard, like he's in People magazine and stuff, and he's a big star. So I've seen his face. but I've never seen any movie he's been in before. Nikki, did you see it?
Well, I've heard of him through college. My classmate was. I had this classmate that she was like literally fawns over him all the time, like fangirl. I didn't know what the big deal was. But then, seeing Jawan, I can understand why people love him. He's like very charismatic. You can see that he's like an all-in-one package deal. He's like very like jacked. He can sing, he can dance, he can do action scenes very masterfully. And yeah, I gotta admit, he's one good-looking dude.
Yeah, and he's in his 50s, so imagine what he looked like 20 years ago, He's still a heartthrob today.
I actually saw, like, old videos of him when he was a lot younger. He was less jacked.
He aged like fine wine.
I think he looks a lot better in his 50s, yes.
I think the director does a really good job in this movie, at least, of, like, capturing his presence. I think Shah Rukh Khan, like, knows exactly how the camera sees him. And so he knows exactly how to frame himself, and the director allows it. So he just comes off as, like, superhuman the whole time. And part of that's camera work, but the other part is just, like, I guess charisma and being a celebrity for so long. He just knows exactly, like, how to look, how to glance. He has, like, full command of his face, and that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think I want to add on to that. Like, I think one of the things that I was kind of, like, laughing but also appreciating this film for was that he's like a legit Superman. Like, he is so invincible. Like, you can't, like, he's always like a few steps ahead of the bad guys. And I think it depends on whether you can suspend your disbelief. And I think it works for the most part for me. I think we're gonna get into that a little bit later with like the plot and how he's always ahead of like everybody, and there's a lot of twists and turns, which is what kept us all like glued to the screen.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So how does it start?
So I think first things first, we're presented with like a huge action scene. We don't know who it was. I think he was like bandaged all around his face, and so first right off the bat we see that he was like, I don't remember where he was, but it was like up in the mountains.
It looks like Mongolia. I was gonna
like
ask
Tibet. You remember?
It's supposed to be one of the Himalayan place, and it's kind of it's not clear where it is, and I think they kept it kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, and then like basically he was doing all these acrobatics, he was doing all these cool action shots, and at the very end of that scene, I think it's like he rose up among like flames, and I think the bandage, his mask comes off, and then we get to see Shah Rukh Khan in all his handsome glory.
I gotta say, in the beginning with his face wrapped in bandages, it looks like the Metal Gear Solid 5 character creation
It
screen.
also reminded me of the Moon. What's that Marvel hero?
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Actually, that I can see the resemblance. I also do think about what's his name again? Venom Snake.
Yeah,
from MGS5.
It looks like the Mummy's just whacking people in a hill village. It's like bizarre.
And so moving on, we don't know what's happening. We just see that this guy is like really, really strong and everything. And then suddenly I think we fast forward a little bit to the present or whatever it was, and it was like you have a bunch of these terrorists taking over the subway metro. And at first, like I think this was the scene that I got a little confused, because you can definitely tell it's Shah Rukh Khan's character, but then like he's doing this act of terrorism, and then that's where it gets like confused. Like, oh, okay, I thought he was like a good guy, and then suddenly he's doing like bad guy stuff.
Right, like shooting a woman in a hijab.
Yeah, that was like so funny. Like it was just like out of nowhere. Like
Bollywood twist.
So you got to mention too, he has a bald cap. So
Yeah.
he
Yes.
reveals his face. Shah Rukh Khan, who has tremendously good-looking hair, has a very obvious bald cap on, and then like shoots point blank a woman in a hijab. It's kind of shocking.
fast forward a little bit, and we notice that we get an introduction to I think it was the lead actress. I think her name was as
Narmada.
Narmada G, or I don't know, as how Shah Rukh Khan's character would say.
Yeah.
She's like this like tough, like military officer.
No, police.
Police officer.
Yeah, anti-terrorist squad or something like that.
Yeah, anti-terrorist squad, and then now you start to question whether who's the good guy here. But what was more interesting is that this Shah Rukh Khan's character, he introduces himself as Vikram Rathore, which is like to, I guess, for these, he's like a legendary criminal mastermind, and then like he has like a group of female soldiers, like about 6 of them, and we find out his motivations because he started like telling the people in the train about how, this is where
she's from a farming background, so the point this film's address is like there are many economical, social issue and political issue that going on in India right now. So the film really handles that very smartly. He addresses the farmer suicide, like farmers being in debt and committing suicide. That's a very recurrent theme in India, like a recurrent problem in India. Every year thousands of farmers commit suicide. That's a very sad story. So he brings up that story, and the filmmaker gives this backstory to one of the minions of Shah Rukh Khan, like who comes from this background, and the first scene he's showing that, that's why we became terrorists. Like she joined my gang because she has to avenge her fathers and then the other community members. And that's when the twist happens that they're getting the money and then they redistribute to the farmers. That's like a Robin Hood act of Robin Hood. So that's the recurrent theme in this film.
Yeah, but so he's holding like the subway hostage, right? And he's talking to the Ministry of Agriculture, and he's like, so 10,281 farmers have committed suicide. But then he complains about like the interest rate of like tractors versus Mercedes-Benz. Like that's his point. He's like, it's you get lower interest rates if you get a Mercedes than a tractor, which, okay, cool. That doesn't really like we could talk about this later, but like his demands are quite low if he's just like wants like interest rates to go down for tractors. And so this girl on the farm, like the dad couldn't pay the bank debts, so they rip his towel off, and the whole town sees him naked, and he gets embarrassed, and he gets hung.
Yeah, so this film like takes very serious problems in India, but it kind of touches over them. It doesn't go in the deep of those problems because it's not in the scope of the film, because this film has to address talk about like 4 or 5 topics, and then they have to burst out in song and then like fight bad people.
It's fine. It just makes the stakes low. Like you didn't read about Robin Hood and it was like he lowered interest rates for the peasants. That's all. That's all.
I think you're just trying to show the disparity between the upper class and the lower class, right?
Sure.
Like this woman's dad was actually his debt was really, really low, and he ended up telling his daughter that he'll see her when she comes back from school, and he just chooses to hang himself for a very low amount of money. And I think contrary to a lot of other Bollywood movies, this movie goes pretty in depth about all of the political issues that India is facing, and it does that in a very captivating way, right? When Shah Rukh Khan has that speech on the train where he talks about corruption and the difficulties that farmers face, I was personally quite intrigued. It moved me. So I think this movie still goes a lot deeper.
I think one question that we had was when the father of this woman hung himself. I think he saw a flyer promoting hanging or something. Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah. So it pretty much said that his family would get remuneration if a family member died, right? Like death insurance or something like that. So that was also a big reason.
It's not usually on the posters, but get it.
But I think that's interesting. Does that actually exist in India? Because that was almost encouraging people in debt to take their lives.
It doesn't exist beforehand.
If you kill yourself, you can award your family so much money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an open secret. There's a very nice film about it called Peoply Life, where a farmer wants to commit suicide, and then it becomes like a news phenomena, and then all the like paparazzis are in front of his house just waiting for him to commit suicide, and then at one point he tries to back out, and everyone is like, "Hey, why are you backing out? Like, we're here for you."
Wow.
I mean, it's a very satiric, dark humor film.
Put on the list.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So Kali kills one of the farmers to take over the land, and then the farmer has a funeral, and Kali's just standing there, shit talking him, telling him that he's like a weak man in front of his family, but he's gonna adopt the child, and then the daughter rings his phone, and he answers.
Yeah, and then we're gonna learn that this Kali man is going to be a central character in the movie. I think he's played by I don't know, Keely, do you know this guy, like Vijay
Vijay Sethupathi. Ah, okay. Yeah. He's a very renowned, famous actor from Tamil film industry. Yeah.
I see. Yep. So he's the bad guy, and so we find out that this Vikram Rathore is like a Robin Hood type of figure, as Keely mentioned, and we then find out the next scene is that this Vikram Rathore is not actually like a criminal mastermind, but he's also like a jailer at this all-female prison. And this is where we get to know that, okay, so this guy is actually a good guy, and he's like helping all these women.
So okay, they have like a present, like a award show or something at the jail, and they're presenting him as the best warden in the Indian prison system. And he's standing up in front of all of the female prisoners that he's in charge of, and they're all like cheering him on, like, "You're the best warden ever." Like, I don't know what this do they do this in every prison? Do they like vote on the best warden?
They do it in every prison.
Do they give like a tour?
Because maybe it's like the Bollywood film prison. You are the best warden.
And then they'll also dance after every time someone's voted best warden.
And is it within the prison? Because like they're showing this only to their own female prisoners. They're not giving it to a talk of other prison wardens. So like, was it like, does each prison get to vote for their own, or is he the best in India? It's unclear, but these female
he's
prisoners...
celebrated. He's celebrated because he's doing good things. He's an awesome warden. Yeah, every inmates are so happy just having him having Shah Rukh Khan as their warden. I think a lot of people will be happy.
They have a montage, like he's like, we did a radio station, and they're all like singing songs with him on the radio. Yeah, they build prosthetic limbs. They make clothes, like uniforms for school kids. Like, they are having the time of their life in jail.
What, do you think? You mean these things don't happen in American prisons?
No, I mean,
it's a correction home. It's not a prison.
But it's like Whistle While You Work in Snow White, but like just a bunch of prisoners who are forced to do it, and they just love this guy. And like, anyways, he's the best. They're setting up a nice system where just one guy is in charge of a bunch of females that have to be there, and they love him. Yeah. So, all right, cool.
And then we get to see the film's first song, which was called like Zinda Banda. I don't know.
Winnie, what's the song called?
Zinda Banda.
Yeah.
You dance to it sometimes, I know, right?
Yeah. So this is like
true?
I dream of it every night. Okay. Yeah.
So I think the
being
scene
in that jail, being in that prison.
Yeah.
Yes,
With
Shah Rukh
Khan
Khan
as
my
the
warden.
warden.
I mean, I'll commit a crime intentionally just to get into that jail.
You have to fight off all those other lesbian prisoners and get to him. It's hard.
Yeah. So this is like a very explosive song. It's like, this is where I think for me is where I start to see why Shah Rukh Khan is a man of many talents.
Yeah, this is the Bollywood, like, this is one of the key feature of Bollywood blockbuster, and yeah, I mean, this songs are like kind of almost becomes like non-diegetic in a way.
Yeah.
Like it's like it exists in the world, but Yeah.
So how can you tell when it's reality and when it's a fantasy? Because I think some Bollywood films it's meant to be a fantasy. Like these things are not really happening, but some films it just transitions to the next
you
plot
just know
line.
from the language of it. Like there are some songs where you can really see that they're imagining, right? Like there are a few songs, let's say with the two love interests, like they're watching a film and they start imagining themselves in the film itself. So that's clearly an imagination, like a fantasy in the film. It's not really happening. Or someone is dreaming of someone, like like in anticipation of him or her coming or becoming a lover of the other person, anticipation of that love they're singing. But this kind of thing, but this song feels fantasy, but it's actually happening in the jail. It's on the borderline of fantasy and realism. It's happening.
It's like a Greek chorus. Like it's just setting up the goalpost of the next, movements of the movie.
Yeah, right. So how does the song end here, Nikki? Like what is the next scene after that?
So right after the end of the song, we find out that what was her name again? Narmada ji. So we find out that Shah Rukh Khan's character is about to meet. He's about to meet this woman. I think like he bumps into this little girl, and then like she's trying to set him up with her mom, and that's when we find out the big twist is that Narmada is the woman that he's matched with, and then that's when we know. Oh, okay. They don't know she doesn't know who he really is, and then it's like, uh-oh.
So she doesn't know who he is, okay, yeah. But he knows who she is, and he recognizes her, and knows that she's like his arch nemesis, and knows that he will continue talking to her, and marries her instantly. Yeah. He decides to do that.
And also it's an arranged marriage. It's not like, they fall in love.
How is it an arranged marriage? Like, is the
because
daughter
that's the setup,
arranger?
right? Like, so what happens in arranged marriage is usually like the tradition, like an old school arranged marriage. In like when someone brings the contact together, right? And the parents gets involved first. It's like, so usually the girls or the boys' family goes visit the other person's house, and then see the person. So here they did a flip on that. Here, instead of her guardian, it's like they put her daughter as her guardian. Like like she came and she's with all her swag and like taking a call whether she can, like, her mother can marry this guy or not. So they play a little twist on that. So yeah, it's the arranged marriage, and then like they just fall in love over a song, and then they're just dating and stuff like that. They're in love, right? No, they're not dating. They're in love.
They fall in love right away. After watching a few Bollywood movies, this is my one, like, the musicals are a really good shortcut for filmmakers because they can just skip ahead a bunch of time and establish stuff, but things like courtship get lost, and like how to talk to girls before you marry them is not shown at all.
No, that has to be only in romantic films where romance is the only thing that's happening in the film. Here, they have to put up like social problems, fight, action, but there has to be a romantic angle as well. Otherwise, it's not a Bollywood film. Bollywood isn't like quote unquote Bollywood film. Like if there is no romance, there is no heroine and like hero-heroine dynamics. But they have to fit in all these things, and then also the romance blooming. So they just cut short because it's a trope. Okay, as an audience, you know that they're gonna fall in love, and then you
That's
just like
fine.
breeze through it. Like,
But people take their cues from movies, and if you don't show like the point leading up to being in love, and you're just instantly in love and saying that,
that's what happens in India.
That's bad. That's not great.
That's what happened in India. Like a guy goes out, sees a girl, smiles, and that's how they fall in love. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It really is that simple.
No, that's the sarcasm, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's expectations.
No, but growing up, Killy, was that?
No, but that's an expectation.
How did you think it worked?
For me,
Yeah,
oh
like
no,
dating.
I thought like I have to talk to a girl and then, but I should think like, oh, but that Bollywood like sanctity of love was in my head that okay, oh, if a girl falls in love with me, that's it, like she will love me forever, like that kind of thing is always there, and the Bollywood taught us like, oh, that's the thing, but I also watched the romantic films where the guy has to put some work, little bit of work to get the girl. So
He has to smile.
No, that's a smile is in this kind of films where the romance is not on the like blooming of the romance is not in the plot point. The romance is just being used to something. So they just cut through it. So in Bollywood films, like this kind of Bollywood films, these kind of big budget blockbuster Bollywood films are very much dependent on spectacles instead of like a character journey, character growth, like story arc, all these things. It's big spectacles. So let's say they have to heighten the stake of this hero and heroine working against each other in the work field, but they're in romance. So that's and then subsequently whatever happens, like saving each other or whatever stuff. So that's the spectacle, but they don't really need to get into like in these films they don't really get into the details of how that bloomed, like that also like suspension of disbelief, like you just take it granted that oh okay, she's the heroine, he's the hero, oh fuck yeah, oh yeah, of course they're in love, they're gonna be in love, yeah. So that's the easy way out, whether it's the easy way, that's the Bollywood film language that they use, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of the reasons why I said that okay, this is a cheesy film, yeah, because I love like character journey and growth. Yeah, I'm so snob. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, this is
and as cheesy as it is, we get that song where I think it's called like Jalea.
Chalea,
Chalea.
Chalea. Yeah, that's the
Chalea.
Romance song,
That's the
right? Where the
romantic
romance
song.
blooms.
Yeah, and then like this is where the whole suspension of disbelief is, where it like, this is where the both characters get to like, express their love, feel like a deep connection with each other, and right after that, after that sappy kind of song, we get into the more political stuff where I think the next scene was like
The hospital politician.
the health minister. He was like giving a speech, and I think this is one of my favorite unintentionally funny scenes where he was saying like, aim at my heart or something, and then one of like one of Shah Rukh Khan's like female minions decide to just snipe him in the heart. And
For context, he's like giving a speech.
Or like one part of the.
it was
chest?
like
His shoulder.
in the chest or in the shoulder or something.
Yeah.
He was saying like, look, as the politician, I made these great public hospitals. I would go to them. If you shot me right now, I'd go to it right now. Shoot me, and then like the guy's like Gaddafi team of female military people just like snipes him in the chest, and then he has to go to a public hospital.
No,
And
they just-
throughout
they-
the
they-
scene
they-
where he's
they-
giving the speech, like they just keep showing the hospitals, the public hospitals where people are dying,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
operating,
yeah,
and the
the
light
montage
goes
of it,
off. So
yeah.
it's a really cool juxtaposition.
It looks
there.
like a war zone in
Yeah.
there, and they're like running out of canisters like at the moment, and they're like, we need canisters now, and they're like, we don't have any. We all
Yeah.
are super corrupt, and we all get money from everyone. Screw you, and hang up,
Yeah.
and they blame the nurse.
And he's basically like, if you don't believe I've solved the public health crisis, shoot me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I have seen politicians making that claim. Oh, if I don't do this, like kill me. Like no, if I
What a
don't do-
nice invitation.
Have
I
there
wish-
ever been shot in real life?
Not the ones who claimed this, but the ones who asked for like who were like.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we find out that I think it was a sniper, was it? I think she was like a hospital, and then she demanded some. I don't remember what it was, but it was like
Canisters.
Canisters
Like,
that-
oxygen canisters.
oxygen
Yeah.
canisters, and like the children like need it because they're suffering from encephalitis, and she didn't get it because I think it was the health secretary who said something like, he kind of pointed out like it was the infrastructure. They're like on some commission or something.
Yeah. So what happened? this incident is also loosely based on some true story.
Oh, I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Bhopal disaster or something?
Bhopal.
Oh, Bhopal disaster is one like this. So Dow Chemical had a plant in, because that point of time in India you have to have like private public partnership to run anything. So Dow Chemical was Union Carbide in India, and they have, for their negligence, they had a gas leak, and many people died and people became sick.
But I think that phone conversation she has with the health secretary
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
so
pretty
that's-
telling, right? Because she threatens that if he doesn't get the canisters, she'll inform the health minister, like go to his supervisors, and that's when he kind of breaks down the commission system, and he's like, "This top man gets the highest commission, so go to him." And that kind of highlights how the infrastructure is just broken from like the top down, and there's no way out of this for her.
Yeah, so it kind of loosely based on a true story where one of the doctors, like he procured the cylinders for the kids in not like a proper way, because it was so emergency and the hospital was running out of the essentials, and like this was a problem they used to bring up all the time, that if there is an emergency that's gonna happen, like we don't have enough stock and but no one bat an eye, and that happened, and he had to like procure cylinders, and then he got the cylinders, and then he did save some people, couldn't save some people, but the so it's a very powerful, like the powerful politicians, like they made it a case against him for procuring the things, and I think he was he was let go from that hospital. He was like suspended from that hospital. I think he didn't lose his license. I don't know, remember that, whether he lost his license or not, but he was removed from the thing, and that was a huge uproar in India. But at that point the political climate was like so one-sided, the power imbalance in India, so it kind of there were like cases like this left and right, and they were dying down gradually. So that's one of the things. So these films, like as I said, like they take the plot points or the backgrounds of the people from the real incident, and then gives a Bollywood twist on it, and develop on it. So that's really commendable that they did this in that political climate that it came out that time. It was really commendable that time. Yeah.
Last year.
Yep.
Okay.
But I think I don't know, you know, as a non-Indian, right? When I watched this scene the first time through, I don't think I would be able to pick up on how it was based on a true story.
Yeah.
So I think there was like, you know, now that you told me, you know, it kind of makes the scene even more compelling, I guess, in a way. So yeah, that's a nice touch. I think there's, to fully enjoy Jawan, you have to like know these kinds of things, I would say. For me, I feel like
not actually, to be honest, but it's just like, I mean, this kind of tremendous bad story that like people suffer through is always there in Bollywood films, right? But just the thing is that it's based on true story here, so that it adds like extra like gravitas to the whole thing. That's it. Yeah.
I imagine this is relevant to a lot of like developing countries as well, right? It's not just
Yeah.
India. It's just kind of the fact that public infrastructures, like public hospitals, education, they're usually so short on resources, but they exist. Like these rich people have the ability, these politicians have the ability to provide it, but they just choose not to.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
highly relatable.
I think COVID exposed that a lot too.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's pretty
yeah.
bad.
India
Yeah.
had so much of lack of oxygen cylinders. Yeah.
Yeah, so he the health minister gets shot, and you know we find out that he
Gets
into
kidnapped by them.
he gets into an ambulance and he gets kidnapped, and here we see Vikram Rathore as like in one of his many disguises. So like one thing to know that is like he was negotiating for like better infrastructure, better better healthcare system, and I think the funny part was that I think I always laugh at this scene because they managed to successfully negotiate like the rebuilding of the infrastructure, and it's like the new
5 hours. Right?
the yeah.
5.
Yeah, but really quick. He's again talking to his girlfriend at the moment, like the woman he's engaged
Right.
to.
Yes.
He calls her up, and he knows he will. He asks for her,
Yeah.
and she doesn't know, but he again knows.
Yeah.
Now, don't you think he's gonna like? Okay, either if you're with her, don't you like try to sabotage her or like learn about her job or infiltrate, or if you love her, kind of give her a heads up and be like, yeah, maybe you like need some medical supplies this week. Maybe you should stockpile. Like, hey, have you heard about this cool guy that like is like sabotaging everything and making your life hell?
I think he loves her.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
But that doesn't matter.
Okay, cool.
He
Go on.
loves her. You
Sure.
have to take it on that or like he loves her. Okay, he loves her, but he doesn't love who she works for. And I think he sees that okay, she will come around because she's a good person. She's just doing her job right now, but she's just working for this system that is that's screwing common people. So we have to screw the system and take things out of the system and be a Robin Hood. So, but she's a part of the system as a worker there, like is a part of, is like a cogwheel of the system. But as a person, she's good because she has good intentions at heart. So he loves her. So here he takes like a, I think.
He's being
He's
a dick, though.
It's
not
just a
saying.
professional conflict of interest. It's nothing personal, right?
It's nothing, okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, let's see you.
But
all for, like,
if my like boyfriend or girlfriend like was making my job harder, I'd be so pissed if I found that out.
Imagine like you have two competitive consultancy firm
I think
waiting
in
for the
his
same
defense, like,
project.
Imagine knowing that your partner is working for the bad guys, is working to uphold corruption to some degree. Like, I would sympathize with him a little bit more than her in this case because he's trying to do good. Like, I think it's been pretty obvious from the train incident. He tried to give a
She's
ton of
not
money
a
to
criminal.
farmers.
She's just like a law
tr-
enforcement.
She's trying to enforce corrupt laws.
ACAB
The
Kelly.
laws are not corrupt. People are.
Okay, move on. All right, so Vikram says like he tells his girlfriend you gotta fix every hospital in India in 5 hours, right?
Yeah. I kind of like lost track, like whether it's all India or it's just talking about one state. I think it's still talking about one state.
Way more
sometimes
manageable.
it gets, sometimes.
No, they're like installing
Sometimes it gets
toilets.
all
They're
India.
fixing everything.
Yeah,
In
it's
5
still
hours.
In 5 hours, yeah,
That's
that's
where we have the
how it
Bollywood
takes
touch.
to develop India. Yeah, 5 hours.
And they-
Indian healthcare solved in 5 hours.
In the
Yeah.
quote, one of the politicians like says the only thing required is the intent of the system. So he's like, we could have been doing this the whole time. We just didn't want to until
Yeah, that's why
Someone showed us
this
up.
film goes
Yeah.
like that's why I'm like, okay, it's
Yeah.
Bollywood.
But Shah Rukh
Uh,
Khan says that when his girlfriend says, we can't do all this in 5 hours. And he's just like, well, you guys had 10 years and you didn't do anything. So get on it. And they
Yeah.
succeeded.
they did it.
But
Yeah.
the way it's
It's a
presented
whole when you
was-
hold a gun against your head, you can do anything in 5 hours.
Turns out bureaucracy is bad. Just cut through the red tape. Demand it be done in 5
Yeah.
hours, and it happens.
No need for tenders, dude. Yeah, just buy things
yeah.
and put toilets.
But the way it was presented, I thought it was pretty funny. Like,
Yeah, that's
it could be done in
the-
4 hours when it could have been 10
Yeah,
years. Modern problems require modern
Exa-
solutions.
Yeah.
Exactly, like I can't get behind the solution part of this film, but it addresses the problems that are actually real.
Oh, the easy
Oh.
part? Pointing out problems?
Yeah, just sort out the problems and
Okay,
just
cool.
write it. Right solutions. There was a film that where this guy journalist, he becomes a chief minister for a day, okay, and then he turns the state around in one day, doing everything, and then the party who actually offered him on a interview to be a chief minister for a day, like tries to kill him and stuff. So it becomes an action film, and it's like all this crazy. But that also, like, he just runs around in this capital city and then fix the whole state just in few hours. Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, very possible. That's what. Yeah.
So what happened next?
I think there was like a big action scene where
He fights his girlfriend.
Yeah, he does fight his girlfriend in like a Phantom of the Opera-esque mask.
Or the Undertaker.
Or Undertaker. And then like I think Narmada, she does like a very like Street Fighter kick towards him, and we get this like really cool action scene, which I think is, you know, that's the thing I like about this movie. It has everything. It has like cool action scenes, well choreographed, despite the, you know, batshit turn of events. And, you know, moving on, like the...
Wait, if Narmada was a Tekken character, who would she be?
According to Kelly, Nina Williams.
Yeah, she has the guns guns around her, like, you know, like sidekicks. Yeah. How Nina walks in a Tekken match. I was obsessed with Nina when I was watching this film.
Who would Shah Rukh Khan be? Jin?
Jin.
He
But
does.
they
He resembles Jin a little bit.
Yeah, but they don't have a chemistry in Tekken though. But it doesn't matter. Yeah.
He looks like a Tekken character. Like his outfit,
Oh yeah, of course.
as
yeah.
the mummy and his dad later on. Like he
Those
looks like
are
a Tekken.
downloadable costumes. But yeah, the bald one is the most expensive one.
The Jawan video game is really fun, where you like blow up a bunch of subways and fight women and host a dance at the prison labor camp. It's fun.
All
Yep.
in the name of justice.
Yeah.
quick time events involving dance sequences. So they have a showdown. I think Vikram escapes, and then right after this scene where we get to see that they're about to get married.
Yes.
They're about to get married after fighting each other.
It's pretty hot. It's makeup marriage. It's after you get in a big
That's
fight
the dual-
physically.
That's the duality of love, guys. You fight one night, and next day it's your wedding.
She doesn't recognize her fiance, and like just some white paint is on his face. They're fighting hardcore, and then they get married afterwards.
They're about to get married, but this is the big reveal where I think they were on their honeymoon or something, and then like she goes through his phone.
No, it's a mask.
It was like a mask.
No.
So from the fight,
They
the
send
mask
like
falls
a
off.
sketch of a person who
Yeah,
resembles
the
her
mask
husband.
falls off during the fight, and since the mask was cast on his face, so they do a sketch based on that mask,
Right,
and
yes.
then it's exactly Shah Rukh Khan, and then she sees the photo.
Well,
right?
the
Yeah.
weird thing is she's like, hey, take this photo of this guy in the mask and make him like 5 years younger and 5 years older or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then they do it, but that is him current age, so I don't know why that would change anything.
because they don't age.
Right.
You see Shah Rukh Khan 10 years back, you see Shah Rukh Khan now, he plays the same age character, so
Yeah, so
they don't age.
But what's really funny is like you see Shah Rukh Khan have this moment where he's kind of thinking about telling her the truth, like his guilt conscience is finally arising, but he only plans to do it after the wedding is already done. Like, you're locked in now.
Okay, Killy, this is an Indian thing, right? Like avoiding conflict until after you get married.
Oh my god.
And they actually paint him out to kind of be good for doing that, for wanting to tell her.
Yeah, afterwards. No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I watch a lot of reality shows too, and seems like a running theme of like just waiting, like after the wedding, I'll like tell everything.
Maybe after they have a kid. Oh no, she already had a kid. Oh okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty washed up.
But it's too late because when he's about to tell her, she has already seen
On
the
the
sketch.
night of the honeymoon.
On the night of the honeymoon.
Just to make it a little spicier. Oh, by the way, like they're about
By the
to
way,
make
you
love.
fought me yesterday and want me dead, and I
Oh,
make
they
your
already
life
they
hell.
already like fucked each other, right? The last
No,
night.
I mean,
yeah, I mean
they're
like
not married yet.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
no.
so are they not allowed to
No,
fuck before marriage?
I think they had a love scene. Like
No, they didn't have sex.
They didn't have. Oh, okay.
Not
No, how
before.
can you have sex before marriage?
So it's that strict, huh?
They
No,
You can
okay,
try to
I'm
kill
just-
each
I'm
other,
just-
but you
I'm
can't
just-
have sex
I'm
before
just-
marriage.
according to the movie, she
I'm
finds
just-
out before anything happens.
Yeah, so she finds out before anything happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that saves the girl. Yeah,
That's so sad.
So,
He must have
yeah.
waited months
Like,
for
yeah,
this
I
night.
think he
Damn
just,
it, damn it. I was
think-
gonna wait till
think-
after the
think-
wedding.
I think Shah Rukh just wanted to spice up the equation just before the love.
Oh,
Oh,
so
I was
love,
getting,
that-
I was
Angry
getting
sex.
so ready. I was so ready
No,
for this
it
woman,
was just
and then
spice
she
up like,
ruins
oh,
this.
we fight, we make love. But I thought they had a love scene, like where they
No.
made,
Unless it was like
No, they didn't.
in a dance scene or something, a song scene. I don't know if they
Which
did.
scene they kind of like, kissy kissy, lovey lovey.
No, that's when they meet. That's when they
means
fall in
sex in
love, but they're
Bollywood.
not sex.
Well, I think kissing in Bollywood film kind of implies that
Kissing
it's
and-
more than
oh,
that,
yeah.
right?
Are you waiting for an actual love scene?
Yeah,
I
that
guess I
doesn't
was.
happen.
Sorry,
no,
that's my bad.
no.
Okay.
If they're intimate, they're like looks like they're in a photo shoot of a cover like a romance magazine.
All I remember
that means they're having sex.
the
I think
dupatta
so.
kind of flies over them and covers everything, and then you can just kind of see their legs,
So they
their
got-
feet on top
Yeah,
of
there
each
are
other.
many things like
Yeah.
So it's okay to have sex before marriage?
No, you will be.
I don't know.
So,
You
so
would
they
be in
didn't
jail.
have that. So it didn't happen then, because they had like a wedding song.
Oh, then it's okay. I think before marriage. I don't know. I'm like I'm a little confused here.
No, they just had like a courtship scene, like where they just pronounce their love to each other and stuff.
Okay, so they've
Oh.
never had sex.
But if
and
they
then-
hold
Oh.
hands, it means like raw dog. That
No.
yeah.
Holding
Wow.
hand, no, not
We are
holding
really
hand. Holding
fixated
hand
on
is
this.
like
Yeah.
just romance. Like holding hand means they're in love.
Okay.
So what
Holding
happens
hand is
after?
love. Like be
They
very
raw dog
close.
each other.
Their
No, I-
face being very
Uh-huh.
close to each other over a music number, and like putting hands over her body and stuff. That means sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hands over body. Noted.
Yeah.
And
that's
he's
sex.
pissed because like they aren't doing any of this, and she brings up the photos, and he was like so close, and he was gonna tell her right after they did it
Yeah.
that he's a bad guy, and
Right.
he missed his
Yeah.
chance.
This is what I get for being a criminal mastermind.
Son of a bitch! She found out. I was gonna
Shit,
spoof
I
her.
was gonna be like
It was
the
gonna be a
good
goof.
guy.
I was gonna JK.
Telling her by myself that the guy you were like losing your sleep over to chase, that's me. Who's not letting you sleep anyway?
It's gonna be a fun surprise.
Okay, so the Desi cat's out of the bag and they're fighting, and I think
She shoots him.
yeah, she shoots him after saying like Suji, the daughter, is not negotiable, and then he gets shot, but he's okay because he's Shah Rukh Khan, and I think that's when the bad guys storm the place and kidnaps the both of them, and then
Yeah.
in we get this like torture scene.
So the conflict is kind of resolved. Their conflict between because the bad guys take both of them, so now they are on the same boat. Yeah.
Okay, it's very unresolved. Is that?
But the bad guys think that they're on the same team, right? They think that this has
Yeah.
been a whole criminal mastermind where she's working with him, she's pretending to chase him, but then she'll just help him escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're torturing them both,
Exactly.
and then sledgehammers start swinging and hitting faces, and you don't know who it is.
Yeah, and that's when we get to the big twist, which is Shah Rukh Khan again. But
Wow.
it's his dad. It's his dad, and it's like I think this is the thing that took I guess me and Adam by surprise because Keely, you said that usually in these films they relative like a father and son, or whether it's like mom or daughter, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's like
It's a
they're
very
all-
common theme.
It's a very common trope. It's all played by the same actor.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily all the time they are played by the same actor. Most of the time they are not played by the same actor, but whenever they're being played by the same actor, it's the language of these films that the audience already know, oh, that means this guy is his father. So when you see the old age version of one character, like the same actor, you already get, oh, that means he's his father. So not necessarily every time the father would be played by same character, the same actor, but if it is happening, it's a thing that you already know that he is his father, and if he's not, then that becomes a twist. But here it's not. It's he's his father. So
Which, I
Yeah.
mean,
Straight.
fine, but visually it means that the mom is with both the same guy as a husband and as a mother.
No, the mom died when he was 5 year old.
I
So.
just mean generally.
Oh yeah. Looks, you see, and also it very happens when the father. It happens a lot in the films where the father and son is kind of separated, either by death or by
Oh.
virtue of some accident or something.
Oh.
That's when this is played. There's only few films where like a son grew up in the family house and just became a father. It was played by Amitabh Bachchan, and that was so weird thing to see. It's just like a young guy just growing up in the same household, and yeah, and the father and the son looks the same.
Yeah, and then I guess this is the big twist, right? He's the father. Shah Rukh Khan is the father as well, and we find out that this particular man is the real Vikram Rathore, and this person that we've been watching, the criminal mastermind, is actually his son.
Yeah,
And that was like named Azad, I think his name
Yeah.
is Azad.
the
And
jailer.
The jailer. And-
Azad means freedom.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. Today I
The
learned.
jailer named Freedom.
He's the warden named Freedom.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yep, that's why everyone was dancing. Like, we got our freedom, guy.
And its freedom is represented as a man, as a warden.
Yep.
Yeah, and so with this revelation in mind, Narmada, I think she disguises herself as an inmate because she knows that, like, you know, Azad has these women soldiers, inmates, and this is where this is where she finds out, and we, the audience, about you know, what is up with Vikram Rathore.
And Azad, like, what's
And
the
Azad.
what's the thing?
What is this? What is this? And I think we're getting into this another flashback scene where Vikram Rathore is like, he's like the captain of I think it was like the
Indian
army in the Indian army, yes, and like their guns weren't working. That was the problem.
Yeah,
the
that's
whole
a
scene of that
villain guy. He's like a weapon manufacturer, like weapon supplier for the army, and his guns are not working, and he's so asshole about it. Like, he's like, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So the soldiers are dying, and then yeah, but yeah. Then what happens?
And then, like, Vikram, they got out of that battlefield war zone, that mission that they were on, and they wanted to file, like, this complaint about how, to the supplier of weapons, like, they're having malfunctioning guns. And I think we get to see, like, I think this is where it gets confusing upon first watch, because we have to remember that this is the father. So he goes back home to his wife, which is played by another actress. I think.
Deepika.
Yeah.
Deepika Padukone.
Pretty woman. They had like a little. I think there was a dog in there. It was like Indian John. Like, there was a dog. They had a dog that was going like they were like. He comes back home to her, right? And then there was like a little dog, and then they went to sleep or something, and then that's when the bad guys. Was it?
Oh yeah, dog's
guys?
gonna die. I said the dog's gonna
the
die.
dog's gonna
Yeah.
die. And then we were like, oh wait, this is straight out of John Wick, and it was John Wick. The dog gets shot.
Yeah.
And then it was crazy. So so basically, like, I think it was the men from the supplier, right, that like attack them, and they kidnap Vikram onto a plane, and that's when we.
He frames him for some he's connected with the top officials in the army and or the police, and then he frames him for some money laundering, and then like weapon malfunctioning bullshit, and then so
And like, I think, right, and then like he gets kidnapped, and then his wife gets surrounded by these cops, and I think she kills them in self-defense, and that's how she ended up in jail, which we find out is the exact same prison that Azad is taking care of in the present day.
yeah, she's given life sentence.
Given a life sentence, and I think this is one of those one of the best scenes. It's like she's about to be hanged for her treason or whatever, and like right before she gets hanged, she faints, and then they were like feeling her pulse on her wrist, and they were like, "Oh, she's pregnant."
Yeah, doctor comes up and then like, oh, she's pregnant. She just knows from the pulse. Oh yeah, I think the pulse gets doubled with your pulse and your kid's pulse in your womb, so your pulse is just doubled. Yeah, okay, that's like 160 beats per minute. Oh, so she has another human inside her.
Yeah. So we find out in this next musical number.
Wait, hold on.
No.
So-
Then the thing, yeah.
No. This is the scene. So they're like, hey, she's pregnant, and then the I don't know, the warden or whatever says, according to Indian law, if a convict is pregnant, she cannot be hung till the child is 5 years old.
Right. Yeah, that was an important bit.
Is that a thing?
That I don't know.
So according to this movie, if you're pregnant, they can't hang you. The child grows up in the prison with you.
Yeah.
You're raised by essentially like a Athena. Wait, who are all the women in Wonder Woman? They raise him like he's like in the Wonder Woman island.
Themyscira.
Thank you. So it's a bunch of like Indian prison warriors like raising this boy. He lives for 5 years here. So, but what I'm wondering is if you have a kid and he's like 1 year old, do they hang you? Do they let that kid be 5 before they hang you and let his mom die in front of his eyes?
But like, isn't it like more dramatic if you grow around your mother for 5 years and then your mother gets hung?
Think about the mom raising that kid knowing the minute he turns 5 you're gonna die.
You think it would be better to just hang her right then instead of letting her
No,
raise her
just
for
after
5
the
years?
delivery.
Right after the delivery.
Yeah, so that you're not hanging 2 people, you're just hanging 1 person, and then the
Kid didn't commit a
gets
crime.
fostered. Yeah.
I think it's better than being raised in a prison and then watching your mom die when you're
basically-
5.
It's way better than like killing your mother like when you're 5.
I think that's
And
like
one suddenly like you were growing up, and 5 is pretty impressionable age.
Yeah.
Like you remember things. It's not 2 years old or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's how to make a terrorist 101.
Yeah,
Like, that's
it's like
how you
5
do it.
It's like impressionable age. You remember the fondness of your mother, and then your mother is killed by the
In front
law.
of him. Like, so they make the 5-year-old watch, and they're like, all right, get out of the prison, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
That's how he gets the motivation to do right
Yeah.
by it. So yes, he gets raised around all these female inmates, and we learn that this is Azad. And
Trauma, man.
trauma, yeah, trauma. And I think, another thing that I remember is that we find out that Vikram survived that attack
Yeah.
in the past.
Loses his memory.
He loses his memory.
Yeah,
And
absentee
that's when they
father.
rescued him. I
Hold
think-
on. Yeah, the memory. This is what they say. They're like, he has muscle memory. He can like speak. He can kill people. He just has no clue at all about anything else. So
Yeah.
he's just like a killing machine that
Yeah.
like grunts sometimes.
Yep.
He's like, you look like,
And smoke cigar.
yeah.
Very cool.
And like
Yeah.
he said something to Azad like, you look like me, but I don't know you or whatever. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Hang on.
He calls his younger self handsome. So it's the same guy looking at himself and saying how handsome he is, and the other guy crying, saying like, "I love you, Papa," and it's to himself. So Shah Rukh Khan just telling himself how beautiful he is, which is pretty cool.
Shah Rukh Khan has done so many double role films before.
That's pretty interesting, right? I don't.
But
think
not,
you
I don't
see
think
that.
he has done father and son combo
Oh,
before.
okay.
It used to be like hero and villain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has done films like where he's both.
Are they twins? How does the movie explain that?
I don't remember whether in that film they were twins or not.
Alright,
It's
put on
called
the list.
Duplicate.
I
Right.
gotta say also, when they're raising up Azad in the prison, they keep holding him up like Simba, you know, in The Lion King.
Yeah.
And they
Yes,
bring
they
that
do.
up later in the movie, like
Mufasa.
Yeah, they're
and-
like-
yeah. It's this dig. Yeah.
they
Oh,
love Lion
yeah.
King in this movie.
Yeah.
Big influence.
Also, yeah, in Indian films, making reference to other films is very common, and it's like some shots will be designed in a way that makes fun of, or either like like they do it many times, like referencing other films, other actors, even sometimes referencing the same actors, other films.
Oh.
Yeah, they go do that so often.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this song that like there's this musical number, right? During when he's growing up. I think it's called like I'm gonna butcher this, I'm sorry. Ararari Raro.
I don't. Yeah.
But yeah, it depicts his childhood, right? And then like his mom tells him that when he's 5 years of age that like you gotta prove that your father is innocent, and that's when we get to learn that he has this motivation for revenge, to avenge his father, and that's when we know that we know about his motivations now. And what happens after that? Shit, I forgot.
No, so then it's his last hostage act. So they're in the prison and they reveal that they stole all the voting machines. So
Yeah.
they have the whole prison is filled with voting machines, and he
Yeah.
says that he has to have his demands met, and the demand is he wants 40 factories removed.
Was it 40?
Yeah,
Okay.
Factories removed, right?
they want the factories removed.
I think those factories were polluting.
Yeah, it was like bad factories. So he
Yeah.
makes like tens and tens of thousands of people lose their job instantly in exchange to vote. So there's a prison full of voting machines, and he wants to close 53 factories. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
So like, okay, there's like a big action scene. I think that was it's the explosive climax, and it's like a bunch of vehicles chasing after each other. You have Azad, you have Vikram and his men, and we get to see this whole bombastic chase scene. There's like egg throwing, there's like Molotov cocktails, people like, I think at one point Shah Rukh Khan slides under the car with his motorcycle.
Level of projectiles, man. Egg and then Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
There-
Always bring eggs to a chase.
You gotta talk about the cigar going in the motorcycle
Yeah,
tank.
and then like he like drives, like they stop at a dead, I think it was like a dead end. I'm not sure if it was a dead end, but basically he gets off. Shah Rukh Khan's character gets off the motorcycle and then turns, spins it around, flicks his cigar. The cigar magically lands into the gas canister, and then he just kicks the motorcycle into the wave of approaching villains, and it just explodes. And I think that's like, it cannot get over the top than that.
It's classic. It's like straight up anime action scenes, slow
Yeah.
motion on and off. It's super rad. It looks like Matrix, like reloaded car scenes with some Mad Max.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
And then, they because there were two Shah Rukh Khans in that scene,
Yeah, he catches the villain catches the father and thinks that's the.
Yes. And then, he finds out that, there's two Shah Rukh Khans. The villain finds out there's two Shah Rukh Khans, and this is the scene where I think is a message to the audience.
Yeah. So this is his main complaint. So he has a request to talk on TV and talk to all the Indian citizens. And he basically says that you fuss over everything except voting for politicians. He's like, 5 hours you spend trying to figure out which mosquito coil to buy, but for a politician that's ruling something for 5 years, you don't give any thought at all about. And he says you don't ask any questions at all when voting. And so his only demand is that you just ask questions to the people you vote for. That is it.
Yeah.
That is his demand.
Simple solution.
Do you not ask questions to
No,
politicians?
we don't.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Goddamn.
You just listen to whatever. They don't go on the
but
news. They don't get interviewed.
Because that side of politics had really gone quiet from the people or the various civil societies and stuff like that. People don't like for example, the prime minister wasn't interviewed at all. Like even for before election, they don't give any proper manifesto. Don't no one cares about the manifesto anymore. It's just like on like overarching theme of communalism or non-communal, like secularism is overarching theme of, okay, oh yeah, so much corruption or not corruption. No one talks about the policy, like, oh, if you come, like, what policy is going to bring. If you come, like, what are the changes you're going to do in the health sector or the education sector. No one even like talks about it anymore. That's really gone down. So
Well,
that's
what do
really
they
a
vote
concerning
for?
thing. They just vote for their favorite parties right now. Like it's been very polarized situation in India. People are taking in the informed decision, of course, but the information is not policies that they're gonna implement after they come. The information is identity of those parties. So that's he's talking about. And also here, like the villain is like taking money from the, like, some underworld don from underworld mafias from around the world, and then he's saying like, oh, I'll just invest this money, give money to people, and they will vote for me, and I'll get the government, and that's how you can do whatever you want in India.
But
I
okay,
mean, this is a very oversimplification of thing, but it has certain truth to it, that it's like, taking money from the crony corporates and then giving them back after you win. It's very similar to some other countries. It has been a recurrent theme. There is a thing called election bond that was introduced, and now it's been cancelled. So in election bond, like, you don't have to disclose like who is giving you how much money. So it's like after it was disclosed, it was discontinued, and the Supreme Court asked to disclose that. We saw like how much disparity it had, like from the two major political parties. Like one party is getting like 80% of like a huge sum of money from the crony corporates, and then of course like they will look after their interest after the election. So that's another topic that they touches on in this film, that and there is like vote buying thing happens a bit, but it's not a big, well, not that explicit that you give money and people just vote for you, but it happens in certain pockets in certain areas, like
yeah, but
like they
if people are okay, if you're just asking questions, so the movie presents the bad guy as a businessman that uses his money and power to make politicians do what he wants, right? Okay, so if you just simply ask the politicians questions, does that remove the bad guy's ability to do any of that?
no.
Right. So this is, I think, the issue necessarily is I don't think asking questions is necessarily going to fix oligarchs,
Yeah.
like poisoning farmers or making politicians go back on it. So even if you ask them what policies they have, number one, they can just lie. I think that's kind of a weird demand to make of just asking questions. But then also, it doesn't solve the root cause the movie presents, which is not that you didn't ask questions, but that a rich guy can just kind of move people with his will.
Yeah. So he's more like, I mean, that the disparity the film has with the thing it's trying to address and the solution it's giving.
Right. I mean, he says...
But all he does is like fight and kill the bad guys. It's like one bad guy and they just...
He is presenting the solution, which is killing the bad guys and the rich people. He's doing that in the film, but then saying, don't do that. He's saying, and in the film they say, we can only do this once. They're like, usually we don't meet terrorist demands, but we'll just do this one time because we've been pretty bad and lazy. But he is doing the answer there, which is they hang the rich guy. But his demand is that you just ask the politicians to vote. It's a very disparate message.
Yeah.
He's doing what you should be doing.
No,
Yeah.
but that's the whole essence of democracy.
Yeah,
Right?
but he's not doing that. The hero's not doing that.
Yeah, it's
like,
an extreme
it's
depiction.
like you do purge once a 10 year and then you do go back to democracy.
That's the point.
No, yeah. True. I can understand the point. But I think also what he's addressing is like ask questions to your politician. It's like it's been really a one point the activist has been asking for a long time that okay, we don't hold the politicians accountable after they're elected. We don't we don't demonstrate against their bad policies. Like we don't keep that going, keep that wheel of democracy going. Like it's just like lose hope for next 5 years, and we don't even the politics has been changed so much towards things that is not development or infrastructural issues a lot. It's been identity,
Yeah.
like like religious identity, and then all these things. And then here it's like, oh, just crony capitalism and everything, and you just don't do anything. So it's a very mixed up message, and it's a very I totally agree with you when you say it's the disparity of the solution he's giving and the thing he's asking from the citizens. Yeah.
It's more so like we're already in this situation where we haven't held the politicians accountable. So now the only way to get rid of them is to kill them. But if in the future you keep asking questions, you hold them accountable, like you don't re-elect the same people in positions of power if they have not kept their promises during their campaign, then you vote for another party, right? So this is kind of like a solution for the modern day situation that we're in. But we can change that situation if we just held them accountable and ask questions.
So step 1 is kill everyone, and then step 2 is ask questions.
Yeah, in a way. Step 1 is like clean up the mess that you already made.
Not
Okay.
everyone. This is one problem.
Because, but look, if I was a citizen and I was asking questions, and some politician like Callie or whatever was like, "Yo, I'll give you $100 to vote for me," that's way more tangible benefits than most other politicians. That doesn't what he's saying doesn't prevent anyone from voting for Callie in the future.
like another Kali.
Yeah, if they're like, "What do I get in the future?" and he's like, or "What do I get if I vote for you?" and he's like, "Money," I'd be like, "Sweet." Like that, enough questions asked. Thank you.
It's like short-term versus long-term
Also be
gratification,
Well,
right?
okay,
But like they're going for people who are impoverished usually. That's people
Yeah.
that actually agree to vote buying. So
right, but he says he literally says freedom from poverty if you vote. You'll get freedom from poverty. But that only will kind of happen if you vote for the guy that gives you money or something. I don't know how it's supposed to save you from poverty.
So one of the things I want to address here, the vote buying thing that they're showing here is not that overarching in Indian politics. It happens in certain nooks and corners, like like let's say like one area in one constitution. Okay, they think that okay, these are the people we can influence, so so they say like there is a neck to neck competition with your opposition, then you know the swing areas, and that area you address, and then you buy the votes from them. This happens. A lot of extortion happens, that okay, there are like this kind of criminal charges against your local guys, like doing this, maybe during some protest, maybe during some other things. If you vote, some villages, they can really track down like which village voted for whom, because it's usually decided in unison. In a lot of villages, that in unison village vote for one party, so they can really track down like who is voting
Yeah,
for
but they
whom.
got benefits.
So they're like, oh, okay, we can do that, but it's not an overarching theme in Indian politics that the vote buying is rampant.
Yeah.
What happens is like more is election campaign, like marketing campaign, and the people, just the politicians, are just taking money for the running their campaign or getting up their wealth from the corporates, and then they're just giving back the corporates after they come back to power. And how they come to power is like lies, deception, and all these things.
Okay.
Like, it's like a multitude of mechanisms that how they stay in the power. Like vote buying is not one thing.
Yeah, I'm not against vote buying.
what do you mean you're not?
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not against it. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, if you buy from everyone, and
Because you get tangible benefits. I
No,
don't
but
think
that
that's
completely
bad.
erodes the idea of democracy, because
No.
accountability is the heart of it, right? So
No,
if
but
it's just
you
vote buying,
You
you're
should
not-
vote for the guy that gives you the most.
No, but 10,000 rupees is not going to change your situation.
It is if
It might
you're
help you
super
pay the
poor.
bill for the month, but like at the end of the day, if you vote politicians who have policies that would benefit you in the future, that
what
will
if
get you out of
beneficiary
poverty.
policy is taken up by the government?
Tell some starving
just
guy, do you
do-
want $100 now, or do you want some good policy that will affect your kids in the future, maybe?
But those are the questions you need people to ask.
Sure.
No, not the kids in the future. It's actually to be like you right now. That's what gonna get people move and vote
Right,
for
which is
you.
money right now.
It's
No,
not.
it's like access to healthcare.
It's money right now, right? It's access to healthcare. It's access to money. It's all these things, but they don't get this much money, so it's just like it's not that much money. It's
I
they just
know,
get they
but-
just get like how the vote buying they just get like a meal,
Sure. No, they get $100.
like a
I mean,
thing,
according
like
to
a-
Cali, they get
a
$100.
party, like a huge party, like
That's fun.
so stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
not like it's not because they don't have that much money to give people. Like
Yeah.
because then they will not have anything left.
Well, Kali was
themselves.
going to give everyone 10,000 rupees.
Yeah, I don't think that's viable.
Okay, that's like $100. Well, he was using 80% from mafia money from Bane.
Yeah, because he has a huge money from
Bane.
foreign underground weapon dealers and shit. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's not
Anyways,
happening right now. We just don't put on tender on while buying like fighter plane anymore. Like we just give random people. Yeah, that's the other side of corruption that's happened in India for a long time. Like buying, like weapon purchase is one of the thing that India had a history of corruption.
that's normal.
Yep, I think so. That's how the whole.
So they hang
industry
Kali.
works.
They kill him.
Yeah, that's about it. The bad person hung. Everyone happy. Yeah.
Indian
the
corruption is solved.
Yeah, you hung the bad person.
Right. That's the solution. Correct. Is you hang the bad people. Yeah, I agree. I agree at the end. What are your final thoughts, Winnie?
My final thoughts. No, I think this movie definitely addresses a lot of important issues. I think issues that have been pretty rampant in India, from the corruption especially, but also the role of the private sector, right? We had that one scene where the businessmen are trying to encourage the politicians to do the vote buying, and then they will invest infrastructure in the country, and even though they are aware of all the harm that it will cause to the country in terms of air pollution, water, whatever resources, it's still kind of like it's okay because it'll generate like 10,000 jobs. So I think, I agree with your point to the degree that no matter who comes into positions of power, the private sector holds most of the resources and the wealth, and they will always be able to kind of manipulate or blackmail or just use money to be able to turn most people against any good policies that they intended to enact. And most people would just turn to the dark side because that's what a lot of money and power does to you. So it's
Welcome
like
to
a
the
short-term
dark
solution.
side.
But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the movie, and all the theatrics and Shah Rukh Khan playing a double role was just kind of like the cherry on top.
Would
Yeah.
you marry him at this point?
Him or his dad? I'd probably go for his dad.
Oh, that's a good question. they look about 10 years different from each other. Wait, so you prefer him playing his own dad?
Absolutely.
Oh.
There was a scene where he played like there was a young Shah Rukh Khan. I don't know why they didn't just use Shah Rukh Khan to play his baby self
Yeah.
as well. They could have just completed the trio.
That would have made more sense.
Right, and then we would have had a proper selection of who to date.
They're holding baby baby Shah Rukh Khan up like baby Simba and his head's floating there.
It is like Shah Rukh Khan. Yeah.
So you like older.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So you go for younger Shah Rukh Khan?
Yeah, go for the baby Shah Rukh
No,
Khan.
out of father
That's
or
that's
son.
bad.
Which one do you go?
That
Out
out.
of context, that sounded so wrong.
What are your final thoughts, Nikki?
What Winnie said.
Oh, so older?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
My thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I like this film.
You didn't like the film.
You said it was a bad film.
I didn't say it's a bad film. It's like I just showed you guys a film that didn't have any music numbers and anything, and you guys wanted the full Bollywood experience, and there was a trash term involved. But I just chose this because it's a nice introduction to Bollywood. It has a decent storyline, and I mean the overarching theme is good. A lot of action scenes, a lot of music numbers, the the colorful gala spectacles of Bollywood, so and the biggest megastar of Bollywood right now. So it's all in one package. So that's why I chose it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I enjoyed it. Actually, I enjoyed it watching with everyone and then having this conversation. Then like. When I was just watching at home, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah. By the way, I have to tell you that because also like the way these films are used to be also enjoyed like in the theater. Like I was saying, right, the fans break out in dance when their hero is dancing, like in the theater. So it is like a carnival thing. It's a theme. It's not like cinema where you are engulfed by the cinema and you are quiet there. You are just a spectator. And you just enjoy quietly in in unison with the other audience, like quietly, like this the art presented in front of you. This is what like you shout at the villain, you whistle when the hero comes, like you dance when the dance number. It's like a carnival where you enjoy the film and you also imagine yourself in the film, like it's like a more of a like a festival
Yeah.
sense of enjoying film.
It's very different versus like Western, like the being silence with everyone as you watch. It's like communal and participatory.
Yeah.
I think Keely is right. I think this film is a great way to introduce anybody who's interested in Bollywood, or like just getting to know the immense star power Shah Rukh Khan holds. I think that's great. I really enjoy. To be
honest, like I think it's this star generation is gonna die down because these 4 people are the last mega star. Next up are superstar. They never become mega star like them. There is no mega star after these 3 big Khans. It's all like superstar, and also like from the latest generation, you can barely see anyone who is even like a superstar. There are actors right now. Yeah.
It's the same in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're all just getting older, and there's no one replacing them.
Yeah.
But I think in Bollywood, these megastars are still putting out really good films, like Jawan, whereas in Hollywood, they're kind of slowly dying out a little bit.
Because Hollywood doesn't have that much of suspension of disbelief.
Well, I think also
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Indian cinema is still resting on like star power still, though. It's not franchises yet. And the American thing replaced stars with franchises. And Indian cinema still just has stars and coasting on that.
Yeah. We don't have franchises. Yeah. No, not at all.
True.
We haven't never built up a franchise, to be honest.
As long as you don't have franchises, it has to be based off star power. So that will remain as long as you need some way to sell tickets just by a poster. So if you don't have like a comic book superhero on it, it's got to be a star.
Wait, you said no franchises, but what was that action movie? It's like a bunch of movies. Like Priyanka Chopra was in it, in one of them.
Krish, right?
Yeah.
The superhero film.
Yes. There was like 3-4 movies.
Yeah, but that's a attempt to franchise, but it kind of died down. It didn't work out properly. Like it was a hit for a bit, but like it didn't continue. I mean, and it's also one of its own. Like it wasn't copied. Like it wasn't reused. The model was not reused later on. So it means like. It died down, yeah.
But the hero was based off the stars, like not an existing IP, right?
No.
So so that's
it's
the thing.
You
have to have like existing IP that people don't associate with an actor to be able to pull that off.
True.
Cool. All right.
IP. Yep. Anyway, yeah.
Thanks for listening to Fear of Stairs. You want to close this out, Winnie? No, I don't know.
We didn't really talk about the closing.
I don't know how we're going to close it. I guess we'll figure this out in later episodes.
Well, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Fear of Stairs.
Bye.
Join us again next week for another blockbuster hit.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mom.
Awesome.